13-year-old girl reacting to life sentence in court. Fernando Salgado, an 18-year-old California student, was charged with criminal acts at Fontana Superior Court. Salgado was charged with 2 separate classroom incidents at A.B Miller High School. When he pled not guilty to these allegations, he was ordered to remain in jail until July 9th, and his bail amount was set at $300,000. Initially, Salgado pleaded not guilty without much issue, but when ordered to remain jail, his tears broke free as he begged his loved ones and friends for support, repeatedly saying he wanted out so badly. "Get me out," before sobbing uncontrollably himself into bed that night. Salgado's emotional outburst is understandable when taking into consideration his circumstances. Wearing a green jumpsuit signifies protective custody. Further, Salgado followed Emmanuel de la Rosa's appearance before the court for charges related to physical attacks against 2 students he taught allegedly committed by him during class time. Not seeing young people cope emotionally when facing criminal charges can be deeply distressful, yet the legal system exists to serve justice, with everyone receiving their due process rights at trial. Salgado's case serves as a stark reminder that legal systems can be complex and intimidating for those unfamiliar with its inner workings, with emotional outbursts like Salgado's being indicative of this fact. Her emotional response highlights the need for additional support and resources available for young people caught in criminal justice systems. Shirley Wolf and Cindy Collier committed an unspeakably violent act on June 14, 1983 that shocked the nation. After convincing 85-year-old Anna Brackett she was being followed by strangers, they entered and attacked and murdered Anna before writing in Wolf's diary that it was all lots of fun. After several days of psychological evaluations, it was established that Wolf was fully conscious of her actions and therefore considered a cold-blooded criminal. Both girls received identical sentences of 8 years at juvenile detention facilities, with additional time added as appropriate based on behavior issues. Wolf and Collier's case sent shockwaves through the nation and started an unprecedented national dialogue about juvenile crime and stricter punishments for young offenders. Many individuals expressed outrage that 2 young girls committed such an appalling crime without facing harsher sentences from authorities. Some even suggested trying them as adults so life behind bars might have been their fate. Phillips expressed regret and acknowledged the suffering he caused Maddie's family when interviewed years after the crime, admitting he had been living in a fantasy world to escape reality, not fully grasping what life or death meant and the impact of suffering caused by his actions. Martise Fuller. Fuller was on trial in Kenosha County, Wisconsin, for killing his former partner and trying to murder her mother, with 3 counts being brought against him for first-degree intentional homicide and 2 of attempted first-degree intentional homicide. Fuller was ultimately found guilty on all 3 charges against him. Fuller was arrested after breaking into his former flame's house armed with a handgun and shooting and killing her while listening to music in her bedroom. Additionally, 2 shots were fired twice at Fuller's mother upon emerging from her bedroom. She survived, but managed to identify Fuller to law enforcement officials. Fuller continued to protest his innocence despite being found guilty. At his sentencing, Fuller issued a written statement which was read out, in which he apologized to his ex-partner's family while professing his love. Furthermore, Fuller expressed that people must see him for who he truly is rather than how the media portrays him. However, Fuller was not persuaded and received an unfavorable verdict from his judge, who issued him a harsh sentencing order of life imprisonment without eligibility for extended supervision due to her acts and need to protect the public. Eddie Devine. Eddie Devine was sentenced to 130 years of incarceration for crimes such as armed robbery, kidnapping, carjacking, and sexual battery. Together with Remy Harvey, he committed numerous heinous acts, including attacking a woman with an ice pick before sexually battering and sexually raping her. These violent crimes often cause not only physical, but long-lasting psychological injuries as well. Eddie's sentence illustrates the justice system's commitment to holding individuals responsible for their actions, especially violent offenses. Furthermore, it serves as an effective deterrent against others considering similar crimes, sending a clear signal that such conduct will no longer be accepted or tolerated by society. Jennifer Mee. At 15 years old, Jennifer Mee gained international attention as the Hiccup Girl. However, later she found herself charged with first-degree murder at Pinellas County Justice Center. Jennifer Mee was charged with orchestrating an online target robbery ring consisting of victims she met through online dating platforms like Tinder. Mee recruited Lamont Newton, his current flame Lauren Rayford, and another friend Lauren Rayford to assist. Mee lured a 22-year-old male she met online to a vacant home before recruiting Newton and Rayford as accomplices to robberies the two carried out by shooting and robbing this victim, ultimately killing him, while only receiving $50 as payment from Mee for their criminal venture. Mee was initially arrested after having an intimate conversation with her mother that was recorded, in which she admitted her role in the crime. Later, she was found guilty and given life without parole imprisonment by a judge. Mee's co-defendants Rayford and Newton were found guilty of first-degree felony murder and received life prison terms for their convictions. Lionel Tate. Lionel Tate was found guilty of first-degree murder at 13 and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, raising questions about our criminal justice system's treatment of juvenile offenders. Although his crime was of course serious, its severity caused much debate because of both its length and lack of assessment for mental capacity prior to trial. Studies have demonstrated that adolescents' brains aren't yet fully formed when it comes to impulse control, decision-making, and risk evaluation, leaving them susceptible to poor judgment and impulsive actions, which may explain why so many juvenile offenders commit criminal behavior. Therefore, when sentencing juvenile offenders, the justice system needs to consider both age and developmental stage before handing out harsh sentences. Lionel Tate was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole until it was eventually reversed. Had an evaluation been performed prior to trial, it may have provided insight into any underlying factors contributing to his behavior and could have helped identify an effective plan of action. Instead, without this process being in place, Lionel was sentenced without possibility of release, an outcome eventually overturned on appeal. Nicole Kipmiller. Nicole Kipmiller was handed an 8-year minimum to 15-year prison sentence by Bay County Circuit Judge Joseph K. Sheeran for killing her newborn son. Additionally, 80 months to 10 years have been added on for disposing of the body. This sentence will run concurrently with her other imprisonment terms. Kipmiller had been detained at the Bay County Jail since her arraignment in February 2010, where she apologized and thanked family and Sheeran for their support during a trying time for all involved in her case. Kipmiller entered into an agreement whereby involuntary manslaughter and body disposal would be charged instead of second-degree murder. Kipmiller eventually entered no contest plea in exchange for dismissing one count of second-degree murder being dropped against her. Bay County Chief Assistant Prosecutor Nancy E. Barusco states that this case was about finding justice for baby boy, and Kipmiller's sentence brings closure for everyone involved. The baby boy died tragically while Kipmiller's actions were unacceptable. Kipmiller first brought her case to public light in January 2010 when she gave birth in a hotel room and placed the infant into a plastic bag before throwing him into a trash can. When asked about this event, Kipmiller claimed she thought she had given birth to a stillborn child instead, leading her into confusion over what to do next. Autopsy results revealed that Kipmiller placed her newborn alive, but still alive at birth, into a plastic bag and ultimately caused its asphyxia. Kipmiller was charged with second-degree murder, but later had that charge dropped as part of a plea bargain agreement. Thanks for watching the video till the end. If you liked today's video, subscribe to our channel and hit the like button for more updates.